Welcome back to This Day. Joining me now with the Fit Brain Club is Grace Carpenter and Dan Daly. Welcome, guys. Always a pleasure to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, are you guys
Good
nice
to
and
be
refreshed
here.
after the Memorial Day weekend?
It felt good having an extra day.
Yes, it is nice. Although I think I got too used to it and sleeping in because now I'm tired. So I know you guys always have such good information to share with the residents, and today is no exception. And it can be a difficult topic, but education definitely helps. So tell us about today's topic.
Well, today's topic with Dr. Kent Papard is about evaluation. So when the clients go to see him, they're usually referred by a neurologist. He's the #1 evaluator who's referred by Saddleback Neurology, all of them. I mean, everybody refers to Dr.
Throughout
Kent.
Orange County.
Everybody, he's fabulous. So what we like this time, because we have had him before, he's going to do Alzheimer's disease versus frontal temporal lobe dementia versus Lewy body. And that's the kicker, right? Everybody needs that information.
He'll give the definition of each one. Each one represents a certain percentage of dementia. Like Alzheimer's is about 63-64% of all dementia cases.
Okay.
And Lewy body is up to 25%. And then frontotemporal is about 5 to 7%.
Okay.
And so it varies, but each one of them have really severe side effects.
Yeah.
And Alzheimer's is the wasting. We get that wasting, and some of them last, like, remember Ben Allen's wife, 12 years.
Yeah.
Whereas Lewy body can go fast. My husband went really fast with Lewy body because of the amyloid proteins. You think of Robin Williams and all of those. I mean, yeah, they go fast.
So dementia, not all patients who have dementia will get Alzheimer's. So
No,
Alzheimer's.
dementia is the umbrella.
Is really
Okay.
an umbrella
Think of the
term.
umbrella.
Got it.
And under that umbrella, you have different forms
Okay.
of dementia.
So the most prominent one is the Alzheimer's.
Right.
And then less common is the Lewy body and the frontal temporal. So what are like the early signs of each? How do you know that, hey, this is something we should probably look into?
Lewy body, they have problems concentrating, real problems. And the other signs will be they'll swear at very inopportune times. They may steal some things.
Aggression.
It could be a value of high value or low value. And those are the signs, early signs.
Okay.
And you got to correct
That's a little
them.
bit different than just dementia.
And both
stuff.
visual and auditory hallucinations.
Yeah, that was crazy to hear. And I know you have mentioned this before on the show, but yeah, I guess I just didn't totally understand that when you think of hallucinations, you think it's a visual, something you're seeing,
Right.
but actually it can affect other senses.
Yes.
Right.
And the olfactory, that is so rare. And my neighbor had olfactory. Remember, I got accused of smoking marijuana, that I was killing him. I mean, his wife sent me email after email for a year. I couldn't get them to go get a diagnosis because she said, your husband's the one who has dementia. My husband had Lewy body. He was aggressive. Everybody knew that Steve had something. We didn't know it was Lewy body because Lewy body kind of gets under Alzheimer's. First they do the Alzheimer's, usually. It's usually progression. And then they get the problems in concentration, spatially, driving, everything, the ordinary signs.
Yeah, they have visual, spatial challenges.
Okay.
The one common denominator is memory loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
That applies to every dimension.
Okay.
Some more severe. Short-term memory loss is a huge challenge for somebody with Alzheimer's. big time.
And that happens, you see that happening like, oh, left my keys in the front door, but didn't remember where I left my keys.
Right.
Well, that's normal signs of aging. We do that.
Right, yeah, it's like, how do you know that, okay, wait a minute, this might just be forgetfulness.
But how many times when it happens do we say, uh-oh, we do a check, right? Uh-oh, am I getting Alzheimer's? What's happening? Do I need to see a
However, if you
neurologist?
can retrace your steps
Yeah,
and find those keys, that's not a problem. That's unrelated to Alzheimer's or any kind of dementia.
okay. And so with the frontal temporal, tell us, now does this one have different signs compared to the Lewy body?
It
They'll
affects
ha-
the nerve cells.
Yeah,
The nerve
they'll
cells.
have the same similar problems as far as lack of concentration, dozing off inappropriately, and very similar early signs.
Okay,
But frontotemporal dementia, usually ex-athletes could have that from boxing.
oh,
Boxers, NFL players, retired players,
yeah,
they have cranial damage to the front part of the forehead, and
And the nerve cells are damaged with
yeah,
them.
then along with that, the nerve cells
Yep.
as well.
so is it usually an accident that maybe brings that on later on? Having that impact through sports or something like that?
Could be, depending upon the length of the time they competed. Constant trauma to the brain is going to result in some kind of dementia.
Okay,
And it's like the NFL players.
Yeah.
It's constant contact, and same with hockey.
yeah,
You know.
lots
But
of
all
very contact
three-
sports.
Right, but all three affect their reasoning ability and their
Right.
ability to make decisions. That's why the driving is an early symptom of all of them. You know, it's so hard. I always say the dividing lines are all illusions because in the end, they're incurable.
Right. Right.
And it's some are like the long goodbye, perhaps with Alzheimer's,
Right.
and then the fast goodbye. It's a dreadful disease.
One of the things that Dr. Papard will emphasize, and that is the fact that a lot of families have a tendency to not face reality.
We
And
all
what will
we're in
happen
denial.
is
Yeah.
that they will see characteristics of early onset, and they don't want to admit it because of the love that they have for mom or dad. And so by the time that loved one gets assessed, a clinical assessment done by a neurologist or anybody, like Dr. Papard,
Yep.
it's advanced. It's no longer early onset. It's advanced.
Yep.
And that's the problem. Number one major challenge is lack of education. A lot of family members don't want to, their
Yeah.
fear is tremendous.
Because there's actually things you can do early
Yes.
on to help
Yes.
slow it down, or medications to help with it.
Well,
Well,
don't take Prevagen. That's on television every day, every
No,
night.
that's a
That is
crap.
such a hoax, and
Okay.
people are wasting their money. Lawsuits against it. It's so bad.
Okay,
But
okay.
but everybody wants a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And then there could be the placebo effect for the people,
Right.
because I hear people at Costco buying it and they're saying it's working, and I say, oh, it must be the placebo effect.
Yeah, I think it's more of they feel good about taking
Something.
medication.
Hope.
And,
Yeah.
You buy hope in a
hope
bottle.
is probably the best name for any drug.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But some of the medications, they're called cholinesterase inhibitors. And Aricept is one of them. Exelon is another, and Rexidine is a third one. And they will increase the alertness of the patient.
Oh, okay.
It's not a cure-all, but it's very symptomatically effective. So
Definitely something that can help, and definitely the earlier you get intervention, the
Right.
more.
No question
And
about
that's
it.
why they need to come to the meetings, because mostly I think it's a Cinderella complex with women who come to the meetings. I always like to address this question. They'll say, my husband's driving is terrible and he won't get evaluated and all of this. And I say, have you initiated driving? No, my husband's always, we don't want to drive. They've got to step up.
worst case
Right?
scenario.
Right? Step up to the plate, girl. You got to do this. Then I tell them, I went through this.
Yeah.
And then you get doing the fighting with the keys. Even when they're advanced, they're still, that I think it's in their DNA, but the
Right,
power.
right.
I had caregivers, the male couldn't hold him back when he wanted those keys. And it's horrible. You just got to
Yeah.
get medications to calm them down.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends up.
Yeah, my mom had years with my dad with the car, and it was a big problem that he
biggest
just,
issue.
and he had been tested, and they said no, you cannot drive, and he was convinced that they were just doing it to him, and it was the instructor's fault.
Probably the best step forward is to have a memory test done at the age of 60
Okay.
to see if there's
So you kinda have a
anything
base.
hereditary going on there. But the sooner it's detected, the better off you get. You can be as
Absolutely.
well as your family.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Saddleback Neurology doctors have trials, clinical trials, where like my husband got free PET scans 10 years ago.
Right.
Free, that was 6,000. They're probably up to 10,000 now. So if you're in a clinical trial and you go early, that's a really good help, wonderful support for you.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you guys for being
Yeah,
here
sure.
today.
Good to
and
see you again.
Giving us this information. So good to see you too. So come join the Fit Brain Club for their next meeting. It's featuring Dr. Kent Peppard, clinical psychologist specializing in neurological assessments. This meeting is on Monday, June 10th at 10 a.m. in the Performing Arts Center, Clubhouse 3, Dining Room 2. Come early, enjoy music and refreshments before the meeting begins. For more information, you can email Grace at carpenter41mg@gmail.com. Stay with us. We have more of This Day coming up right after this.